Good morning. Good morning. It's morning time in the central time zone of the USA. 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 Yes, the Olympics. We are Olympic people. We love watching the Olympics. Miss Simone, anti-gravity. She just keeps flipping up there, right? And then, who is it? That French dude is swimming. LeJean or something like that. Lemon. I forgot. French dude who's trained at Arizona State and goes back to France and wins a gold medal. And what was it? It was a Canadian girl too we were watching. She was a big swimmer. And she's training down in Sarasota. What's wrong? You don't have pools in Toronto? There's a big one right there in Toronto. Big pool, little girl. Big pool. It's called Lake Ontario. It's fine. I love the Olympics. Love seeing people from all over the world come together and compete, and they're really common folks, despite what their governments do. Yeah. I did a video the other day. I don't know what happened to it. It went to the story up there at the top, and some people watch those and a lot of people don't. So try to keep it so most people get this and talk about walking in the light. And you can't walk in darkness without light. We live in a dark world and everything, and you need light to be able to see where you're going. A lot of people stumble around in the darkness. And, you turn all the lights off here in this room and in your house. If you don't remember where things are, and I've had to do that here recently, tell people don't move stuff, or if you move it, let me know. And, and the more light I have, the better off I am. It's kind of hard in dark restaurants to navigate, and I have to follow somebody. Somebody has to hold my hand here recently, and it's difficult to navigate in darkness. You just don't know where things are. You go into a dark dining room somewhere, you don't know where the table is. You have to feel around, and you stump your toe, and there's a chair, and then you have to feel for the silverware and the food, and, your other senses are wanting to make up for what's not happening visually. And God gives us light for a reason. It's amazing. Genesis, it says, and he created the heavens and the earth. In verse 2, it says, darkness was over the face of the earth. And he said, light be. And there was light. And we still have that light today. So, when there's darkness, you need to be in light. And look, he's only going to hold you accountable for the light you have. Now I'm talking about a spiritual sense. James 4, I think it's 17, says, to him who knows to do good and doesn't do it, knows to do good and doesn't do it, to him it is sin. Okay? To him who knows to do good and doesn't do it, to him. Not to your neighbor, not to your brother or your sister or mom and dad, to you. When you know to do the right thing and don't do it, that is sin in your heart. That way, there are things you will not know to do. Those things you know not to do, you aren't held accountable for. But you are held accountable for what you do know to do. This is talking about walking in the light, doing the right thing, being a good witness, sharing your light so that other people can walk right. You know, and you know, it's kind of like the whole light and bushel thing. You know, man doesn't take a light and put it under a bushel; he leaves it out for everybody to see. What's fascinating about that light is that light, that candlelight, and then you know, this is also. I was sharing with someone about the 7 candlesticks in Revelation. That light, he's talking about the bushel, Jesus. He said, you don't put it under a bowl, you put it on a stand so everybody can see. That light is an influence in darkness. And that's what the candlesticks are, the light of the candlesticks in the book of Revelations talk about the churches. The churches are candlesticks, are lights in darkness. And what Jesus said in Revelation, he said, if he goes, blah, 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 if you don't change the way you're going, I'm going to remove my light. In other words, Jesus will remove his influence that you have in darkness. And see, we have an influence in darkness also. And we don't take that influence and we put it under a bowl. We put it out for everyone to see because we want everybody to be influenced by that light. And it's important that we walk in that light, that we know. We do good and we let that light shine. Do good and let the light shine, okay? Why? So other people can grab a hold of that light and do good. To him, he takes it and he puts that light out. That light is no longer an influence. To him it is sin. Don't do good. To him it is sin. A great example is, and no one likes to talk about this nowadays, is your love walk. Just talking to a friend of mine the other day, and how, you know, her father was a big influence in her life, of course, but he didn't approve of her choice for her husband, and he was a believer, but there were things that in his love walk towards his son-in-law just weren't right. And she said there were several times that her husband wanted to give his life to Christ, but because the way the father-in-law treated him, he didn't want to do it. Why should I become a Christian if Christians treat people like that? Well, see, had the father-in-law walked in love, in the light that he knows, it would have been a different story. And so you can sit there and say, you know, the idea of, you know, just being nice, love is kind. You know you're supposed to be kind to people. And you don't do it. Well, you're held responsible for whatever influence you have on that person. I don't care. You can say, I don't know that. I don't know that. You already know it. You already know it. Now, to avoid that knowledge, that's where it's sin to you. To him who knows to do good and doesn't do it, to him it is sin. You know that you are to do good, you are to be nice, and trust me, I'm preaching to myself here. There have been many, many times I haven't been nice. Thought, hey, honestly, the way I was brought up, or the way this happened, or the way we were taught, the way the world system is, sometimes you got to be tough. Sometimes you got to be mean on people. Proverbs says a kind word turns down wrath. Well, I'm held responsible for that kind word. And what does kindness? Kindness is love. So I am held responsible for what I know and my influence on people. I don't know why I'm going off on this. I'm going through redemption study right now. I'd much rather be going through that. Redeemed. I'm redeemed. I'm redeemed from the curse, Lord. But we have to be responsible for the light we are walking in. I was thinking about that and about this preacher decades ago who got off and don't want to go into details. I'm like, well, people around the world who've never heard the gospel, they are not responsible for not hearing that. Someone else might be, but God is not going to hold them accountable for that. God is just, okay? And he knows what's in your heart. Talking about judgment, he will judge you according to what's in your heart. Okay? According to what you know. And he knows what is in there. So do you. That little nudge on the inside that says, stop, this doesn't feel good, then what I'm about to do, then you need to stop what you're about to do and don't do it. Because that's that nudge, that's that light. And what's happening is that you are taking the light, you are about to take the light, take the bowl, and put it over the light. Thinking, hey, I don't need to do this. I mean, look, I don't need to be kind to this person. They're mean to me. They have every right. I have every right to be unkind. No, you don't. You're putting the bowl over the light. You're about to put out your influence. And that's where we're held accountable for. Okay? I hope some of that made any sense. Probably didn't. I don't know. But that's where I'm at right now. And there's some other things I'm going to get into next week. That some of those things that I've been enlightened on here lately. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to share that. And I really feel like the Holy Spirit's leading me to share these things. So, look, you guys be encouraged, be blessed, and have a wonderful day.